Hello boys and girls, it's Miss Mia here. You're probably wondering where on earth is Mrs. Gale. Well, believe it or not, myself and Mrs. Gale did film an episode for this particular lesson, and unfortunately my phone died during the filming and then we ran out of time to refilm it. So Mrs. Gale, if you're watching, I apologise. I know you're going to be rather annoyed at me, but we need to move on. So this is our second geography lesson, which is linked to tourism. So please do watch it and then go onto the website and have a look at the activities and start completing. So before we begin, we've got our vocabulary slide here. Sorry we won't have Mrs. Gale to do any of her interesting actions, but we'll make do. So we've got the words facilities, services, industries, tourism, city, variety and impact. So during this lesson we should be going through the definitions for all of these key words here. If by the end of it you really don't understand the meanings of some of these words, grab a dictionary, have a look, or Google a definition if you need to. Okay, let's move on. So the LO for today is the following. LO, to identify what tourism is and the impacts it has on an area. So we are going to look to identify, so define the word tourism. So what actually is it? And what are the positive benefits of tourism on an area? And we know with impacts there's always positives and there are always negative impacts, so we're going to look at both. Right, before we begin we need to think about the following question. What in fact is tourism? So pause the video here and have a little think, have a chat with the people around you if you have someone around you, or have a think to yourself. So what do you think the word tourism means? Okay, industry of providing services for people on holiday in a place or people who are visiting a place. So when we think about the word services, we're thinking about things such as hotels, cars, pools, shuttle services, food, and so on. So I've got three questions here, three really interesting questions. So I'm going to read them to you and then I'm going to share my thoughts with you as well. So question number 1 says the following. What has been your favourite holiday, whether it's abroad or in the UK? Number 2, were you provided with any services? If so, what kind? And number 3, did this service improve your holiday and why? So we're thinking about number 2, choose one of your services and then how did it improve your holiday and why? So pause the video here, have a think to yourself or have a chat with the people around you, and I'm going to share my thoughts as well. Right, so I've been fortunate enough to go on many holidays during my lifetime, and one of the most enjoyable holidays I've been on most recently was last summer when I went to Croatia with Miss Talbot. So Croatia, if you're not sure, is in Europe, and so whilst we were in Dubrovnik, we did lots of different things. We actually hired out an apartment which had lots of amazing facilities. We also visited some historical buildings and so on. We definitely went and saw the sets where the show was filmed, and actually that we were provided with were these experiences. Which was kayaking around the island, and little did we know that this experience was for people who had probably been kayaking before, because it was quite a long distance. However, myself and Miss Talbot persevered and we had a fantastic time. They were great instructors. They stopped off, they showed us little islands and stuff along the way, they provided us with lunch and so on. So it was an amazing service, and it really did improve our holiday immensely. So if you have a look at this diagram here, this is a really interesting diagram, and the key question says the following. So why has tourism increased? So this diagram shows an increase in tourism from 1975 to 2005. And these numbers here are numbers of tourists, and they're recorded in their millions. So if you have a look, and if we look at, say, for example, the Middle East, in 1975, 3.5 million people visited a country in the Middle East, whereas in 2005 39 million people visited the Middle East. And then if you look at Europe, we've got in 1975 153.9 million people visited Europe, whereas in 2005 that increased to 441.5 million tourists. Now if we think about this, is quite a bit outdated obviously. If this was spanning from 1975 to 2019, we'd see a massive spike in all these numbers as well. There are a number of factors that have contributed to the increase in global tourism, and we're going to find out about some of these factors right now. So number 1, People are earning more money and can afford to go on holidays. Actually, most people who work are paid well, and there is a national wage limit within the UK, and this allows people to create savings, and if they choose to, they can go on holiday. Number 2, people have more paid holidays from work and have time off work to go on holiday. So by that we mean the following. Each company is legally required to provide a set amount of holidays for their employees within the UK. And that holiday is paid by the company. So when people take that time off, they do not need to worry about finances during that period off. Number 3, travel has become easier and cheaper. Our roads are better, so it's easier to travel further on a budget. So actually, compared to recent years, if we take it back all the way back to the Victorians, the travel has increased phenomenally since then. So we have lots of planes, we've got trains, the Eurostar, we've got ferries and so on, and they have all contributed to traveling a lot easier around the world. And actually, if we think about our country, if we think about the UK itself, we are an island, but we're really well connected to Europe. All we have to do is drive down to Dover and then cross the English Channel, and we have Europe on our doorstep. So lots of families now are using their cars and going on road trips around Europe. For them, it might be cheaper and a lot more financially beneficial than actually taking planes and trains and so on. So we are really well connected to parts of the world. People are visiting a wider range of places because they have a better knowledge and understanding of places. People nowadays, compared to before, are researching different holidays, more interested of places around them. We've got lots of advertisements on the television, we've got advertisements on the buses and so on, and travel agencies advertise holidays as well, so people have a better understanding and are conducting their own research about lots of places around the world. There is a greater variety of holidays to choose from. So by this we mean lots of companies provide package holidays. So this could be all-inclusive holidays, this could be holidays with lots of activities, this could be a tailor-made holiday just for you and your family. So all you have to do is pay for the services and you just go on a holiday and everything is catered for. And lastly, many countries have improved their facilities to make it easier for tourists. And by that I mean many countries around the world are capitalising and investing money into their tourism industry to ensure that they can attract people from around the world to come and visit their area. So they're improving their hotels, their transport system, they're ensuring that there are lots of landmarks and activities available for people who visit to participate in. So these are some of the reasons explaining why tourism has increased so significantly in the last couple of years. Right, so the next thing we need to think about is the following question. Is tourism important, and in fact, why is it important? So as you're watching this video, can you think about the following? What are some of the benefits of tourism? And on the flip side, can you think of what some of the negative impacts may be of tourism? Okay, enjoy the video.
Hi, I'm Dave, proud owner of a working peach orchard and big-time supporter of promoting tourism. So, why does a peach farmer care about tourism? Well, let me tell you a little story about John and Jane.
Hi.
They thought it would be nice to take a vacation. John had ideas, and Jane had ideas. But as they talked, they couldn't decide where to go. They knew their perfect place was out there. They just had to find it. Jane flipped through magazines. John started noticing the vacation ads on TV. On his way to work, John saw billboards and heard radio ads.
Mostly sunny skies.
And once he got there, he talked to his friends about where they spent their vacations. Jane did some research on the internet, visiting different websites to see which places had what they were looking for. After seeing all their options, John and Jane came to the same conclusion.
We found the perfect place.
They were so excited, they started to plan their trip right away. After booking their flights, John was eager to line up some things to do in the perfect place. So, he visited the Perfect Place's website, watched a video, checked out the hotels, bought tickets to a ball game, and signed up for the Perfect Place's e-newsletter especially for visitors. Jane called the toll-free number and spoke to a nice lady who told her everything she needed to know about the Perfect Place. Jane also got the visitor's guide, which helped her learn what theater productions were in town, where to eat, and other things to do in the Perfect Place. So, John and Jane had explored their options, booked their travel, and planned their vacation. They packed their bags and off they went. End of story, right? Actually, this is where the real story begins, because what do you think John and Jane do when they get to the perfect place? Guess what? They spend their money. They spend their money on their rental car, in their hotel, seeing the attractions, enjoying outdoor activities, shopping, and dining out. They're happy they came to the perfect place. Woohoo! You know who else is happy? The hotel they stayed in, of course, and the bellman at the hotel, the workers at the local company that supplies his uniform, the stores they shop at, and the banks they use. And then there's the restaurant where John and Jane ate dinner, and the waitress who served them their wine, she's happy too. So's the local vineyard that grew the grapes that made the wine, the people who bottled it, and the drivers who brought it into town, and the peach farmer who supplied the peaches for the cobbler that the waitress served John and Jane for dessert. That's why someone like me cares about tourism in somewhere like the perfect place. Yes, I'm a farmer, but I'm also a businessman, and I can draw a lot of conclusions from that story. I bet you can too. Tourism creates jobs. It brings in spending. And tourists pay taxes, which means locals pay less. But tourism is competitive, and without the marketing engine that drives it, people like John and Jane will take their money to some other destination, where it'll benefit some other local economy. Let's make sure our local economy grows. Let's feed it, nurture it, help it along, so it becomes strong, healthy, and delicious.
So hopefully you enjoyed watching that video and learnt a lot about the positive impacts of tourism. So let's have a look. Have a think now with someone around you or on your own. And can you identify some of the positive impacts of tourism? And actually on the flip side, what are some of the negative impacts of tourism? So pause the video here and have a little think. So if you think about the positive impact of tourism, just based on that video, we can think about two main things. It creates a lot of jobs and it creates a lot of money for that particular country itself. If you think about the negative impacts of tourism, then one of the big things that jump out is the idea of pollution. Lots of tourists do cause a lot of pollution, especially with the increased use of transport and so on. And in addition to this, if you've always lived in an area and then suddenly there's an influx of people who are coming to your area and visiting it because it's an amazing tourist attraction, your personal lifestyle has to change quite dramatically. So you may not be able to do certain things that you were able to do beforehand, and you may need to start queuing and so on. So it may affect local people's lifestyle as well. So those are just some of the positive and negative impacts of tourism. If you need to, do a bit more research and identify some more positive and negative impacts of tourism. Okay, let's move on. So if you think about our city, our capital city, London, we have lots of people from around the world, the global community, who come and visit London on a regular basis. So what does London have to offer, and why should people visit London? So on the video, we've got lots of different picture clues here related to parts of London and the services it provides. So have a little pause here. What kind of things attract people to visit London? Okay, one of the key things that people come and visit London for is actually their theatre district and the West End. Another thing we can think about is actually the royal family and Buckingham Palace, where the Queen spends quite a lot of her time. Another thing that London is really well known for are its green areas and the zoo and so on. So within the zoo, people can visit the endangered animals safely. And then there's lots of beautiful green areas. So this is Regent's Park, where people can go and just sit and relax if they would like to. One of the key things I haven't put on here, which I know lots of you probably have visited, are the museums and the galleries and so on, which are free for everyone. So we know we've got the Natural History Museum, we've got the Science Museum, which is incredibly interactive and educational, and again draws lots of people in from around the world. So these are some of the reasons why people come and visit London. Okay, so your task for this lesson is the following, and I'm going to talk you through the bronze, silver, gold and challenge as well, so you have a good understanding about what you need to do in the next few moments. So for bronze, all you have to do is define the term tourism. write a little subheading, what is tourism? And if you've forgotten, go back in the video and re-listen to that part. So tourism is, and there's your little sentence starter. For silver, just if you think about that diagram and the different points that we listed, why has tourism increased? And it says list at least 4 reasons. Again, you've got a little subheading there. Tourism has increased over the past few years because of the following reasons. And can you list at least 4 of those reasons? Again, if you need to go back yourself in the video and re-listen to that part. Okay, gold is related to the video that you watched, and I just want you to create. So for gold, you just need to create a table and identify the positive and negative impacts of tourism. So within the video, there were lots of positive impacts, and I mentioned a few negative impacts as well, but I'm sure you've got lots that you can add yourself. And for challenge, lastly, it's the following. List 4 reasons explaining why London is a good tourist attraction. Identify what each place has to offer as well. And we've got a nice little subheading there. So why should tourists visit London? And I've just given you a little idea about how you can structure your paragraph. So let me just read you what I have so far. So London is an excellent place to visit because London has a variety of facilities which are suitable for all types of visitors, including families. Firstly, London has a zoo which allows people to see animals, including endangered animals from around the world. This also allows people to learn about these animals. And then you can write another reason, secondly, and so on until you have 4 reasons entirely. This slide will also be up on the website as well, so if you need to go back and look at anything, you can do too. So hopefully, boys and girls, you have a really good understanding about tourism and the impacts it has on an area. And we'll see you again soon. Stay safe and take care. Bye.